Okay, so here's another special problem. Again, you're not going to recognize this on the test. It's not going to say this problem is a special problem. What you're going to do is just solve it like you normally would do. Go through our steps. Remember, solving equations, 1, 2, 3, 4. Simplify, label, move, divorce. We know it's a special problem when you get stuck on the labeling, or when you get through the moving, there's no more variables. So for us, again, remember, I see the equal sign, so I have a left-hand side and a right-hand side. Let's focus on just the left-hand side. We asked ourselves, do we have any parentheses on this left-hand side? Yes. So always get rid of this first. Distribute. Remember, we're distributing not only the 4, but what its sign is in front. So it's a positive 4. So positive 4 times 2t is 8t. Positive 4 times positive 1 is positive 4. This is on the outside, so just bring it down. Don't distribute to it. Once you get rid of the parentheses, then you can collect any like terms. Coefficient, variable, constant, constant. So it looks like these two items are like. So when you have a positive and you have a negative, remember, different signs, subtract. Who wins the tug of war? 4 players versus 1. Team 4 has more players, so team positive. Notice I'm just going to bring down the variable term down, since there's nothing to collect with it. So we're done simplifying, because we have a coefficient, variable, constant. No more matches, no more parentheses. Let's focus on this side. On the right-hand side, do we have any parentheses? Not at all. Do we have any like terms? Coefficient, variable, constant? No. So we can't simplify, so bring it down. Now, we're going to go to the labeling step. Notice the left-hand side has a variable. The right-hand side has a variable. And notice the coefficients are exactly the same. The left side is a positive 8. The right-hand side is a positive 8. There's no winner on what side is higher. That's a clue that this is going to be a special answer. But if you didn't know that, and if you arbitrarily just said, well, let me label this side variable and this side constant, when you start moving things over, move the 3 over to the constant side, so the opposite of positive is negative. Whatever you did to the left, you had to do to the right. These are inverses, so they cancel out. But these are inverses, they cancel out as well. Now I know some of you right now say, well, why can't I just go into the divorcing step and divide both sides by 8 and say t equals 1? The divorcing step can only be done if everything's on the correct side. Now this t is on the correct side, but this t, that's not on the correct side. So you cannot do your divorcing step. You can only do your divorcing step at the very end, only when everything's on the appropriate side. So you can't have variables on the left and the right-hand side at the same time to do the divorcing step. You have to move. So move this 8t, the opposite of a positive would be a negative. Because remember, it can't stay on the constant side because this is a coefficient and variable. They're not constants. So if I do a negative 8t here, I have to do a negative 8t over on the left. These are inverses, so there is nothing left on this side. This and this, nothing left on this side either. But notice, this is a little bit different than our contradiction guy. Notice, this is a true statement. The other problem where we had 6 equals 0, that was a false statement, because 6 is never the same as a 0. But this is different. This is a true statement. You have a 0 on the left and a 0 on the right. That's a true statement. The technical term is this is an identity. An identity is when you have a mirror image. The left-hand side is exactly the same as the right-hand side. When you have an identity, then we don't say our answer is identity or true. But for us, we will say that this is all real numbers as your solution. What does that mean? I can plug in anything for the letter T to make this a true statement. I can plug in 5. That would make it a true statement. I can plug in 3. I can plug in -4. There is more than one answer that would make this a true statement. When we were working with the problems where I got my final line that said x equals 2 or x equals -1 or x equals 7/3, those were what we call conditions. Conditions mean saying that it is true only when x equals this number. But here, we're saying that any value for the letter T will work. So it's not no solutions, it's actually all. And we say real numbers because there is something out there called imaginary. You learned that in Math 012, not here. So we just quantify this by saying all real numbers. Okay? So there's 2 special answers. Special answer number 1 is no solution, and that's when all the variables disappear, but you get a false statement, say no solution. And if all your variables disappear, but you get a true statement, 0 equals 0, or 4 equals 4, then you can say all real numbers. But make sure that all the variables disappear. If there's a variable still left, then it's a contradiction. You have to say x, not a contradiction. It is a conditional where you have to say x equals whatever the constant is. But if all the variables disappear, like they did here, special answer. In our case, this was all real numbers.